They were sitting at a bar, two women in their 40s. One of them pulled out her phone to exchange numbers. Then she stopped. She reached for a napkin instead, wrote her number by hand, slid it across the table. Her friend laughed. Then she got quiet. It was the kind of quiet that happens when something small suddenly feels enormous. The napkin sat between them for a moment, just a scrap of paper with 10 digits written in blue ink. The bartender wiped down the counter nearby. Someone fed coins into the jukebox. The woman who had written the number did not say anything. She just took a sip of her drink and waited. Her friend picked up the napkin. She turned it over in her hands like it was something from another century, which in a way it was. She folded it carefully, not into her phone case, into her wallet, behind her credit cards, where you keep things you might need later but cannot risk losing. They both knew what was happening. This was not just about a phone number. This was about opting out of something. The constant availability, the instant confirmation, the little safety nets we build into every interaction now. One of them asked if they should put the next meetup in their calendars right away. The other shook her head, said she would call. Old school. They finished their drinks, they hugged goodbye, they walked out into the night, and neither of them knew for certain if they would actually see each other again. That was part of it too, the not knowing. The space where someone could disappoint you or surprise you, where intention had to carry the weight that technology usually does. We have forgotten what it felt like to give someone our number and not know if they would call. To make plans and have no way to cancel except to not show up. To be unreachable for entire afternoons and have that be completely normal. We do not talk about that part when we talk about smartphones. We talk about distraction, about scrolling, about the erosion of attention. All of that is true, but underneath is something else. We gave up the space where someone could disappoint us without explanation. We gave up wondering. We gave up the small bravery of showing up somewhere and not knowing if the other person would be there, of waiting 15 minutes, 20, of finally leaving and feeling something, hurt or relief or both. When did we start building exits into every commitment we make? We can always send a quick text, always soften the blow, always keep one foot out the door. We optimized for convenience, we got safety, we can always check in, always explain, always adjust. And somehow we ended up lonelier. There is something about the napkin that will not leave me alone. Not the napkin itself, what it represents. The decision to make something harder on purpose. Because exchanging numbers on a napkin is harder. You have to trust your handwriting is legible. You have to trust the other person will not lose it. You have to trust they will actually call. And you have to sit with the fact that they might not. That uncertainty is what we have spent 2 decades trying to eliminate. We want to know. We want confirmation. We want the little check marks that tell us the message was delivered and read. We want to see the 3 dots that mean someone is typing back. But maybe what we actually want is to never feel forgotten. And the price we paid for that is we also never get to feel remembered. When someone calls you from a number they had to pull out of their wallet. When someone shows up because they said they would and there was no way to check in beforehand. That means something different now. It means they carried you with them, not just in their contacts list, in their actual thoughts. We think we miss simplicity, fewer apps, fewer notifications, less noise, but I do not think that is it. I think what we miss is the risk. The last-minute cancellation text is a kindness. Of course it is. But it is also a slow leak in the foundation of how we show up for each other. Because if you can always cancel, if you can always adjust, if you can always keep your options open until the last possible second, then nothing is really a commitment. Everything is provisional. And we feel it. We feel the difference between someone who blocks out time for you and someone who pencils you in. There's an old idea that difficulty creates depth, that the relationships that cost us something are the ones we value most. We see it in long-distance friendships, in the letters people used to write when that was the only option, in the way our grandparents talk about the friend they had to take 2 buses to visit. It was not romantic. It was inconvenient. But the inconvenience was also the point. You did not make that trip unless it mattered. You did not write that letter unless you had something to say. You did not call unless you wanted to hear their voice. Now we can reach anyone anytime, and we do. We send the quick text, the emoji, the meme that made us think of them. All of that is connection. But it is also clutter. It is easy to stay in touch. It is much harder to actually be present. The napkin is a refusal, not of technology, of the illusion that being reachable is the same as being connected, that responding quickly is the same as caring deeply, that keeping the conversation going is the same as having something to say. Maybe the thing that made old friendships last was not that people were better at friendship. Maybe it was that they were worse at everything else, worse at filling time, worse at distracting themselves, worse at avoiding the discomfort of showing up and not knowing what would happen next. We had to sit with each other. We had to sit with silence. We had to sit with the possibility that this person might never call, might never show, might drift away, and we would have no way to follow them except to let them go. That sounds bleak, but maybe it was also why we held on tighter when it mattered. So here's what I keep coming back to. If you had to write your number on a napkin right now and hand it to someone, no follow-up text to make sure they got it, no way to check if they saved it, just the number and the hope that they would use it. Could you do it? Or would the uncertainty be unbearable? Not because you doubt them, because you have forgotten how to sit in the space between giving something and knowing what happens next. We have trained ourselves out of waiting, out of wondering, out of the small faith it takes to believe that if something matters, it will find its way back. What if the napkin is not about going backwards? What if it is about remembering that some things are supposed to cost us something? That the best parts of being human are the parts we cannot automate or optimize or make frictionless? What if we are not supposed to always know? The Flawed Seeker, new reflection every day. We are all trying to figure this out. None of us have it solved. If this landed, share it with someone who might need to hear it. theflawedseeker.com